Hi, I'm Purva from Palghar. The book reading session impacted me in a bunch of ways. It allowed me to exchange my thoughts and opinions with one of my role models, that is Kiran ma'am, and with teenagers from across the world. The session was so inspiring, interactive, and fun that we didn't feel the hour tick away. Kiran ma'am was so down to earth and easygoing that opening up to her was like talking to our favorite teacher at school. All in all, it was like a dream come true for all of us. Don't you all agree?
My hobbies are public speaking and dancing, and poetry is my talent. I've been writing poems since 2 years now, and I think it is one of the most beautiful way of expressing thoughts and emotions through words. I would love to write a poem for ma'am too. Thank you.
My hobbies are anything to do with public speaking. I love MUNs, debates, and I'm also a national level quizzer. Moreover, I recently started a YouTube channel as content creator to help my juniors score better in their class 10 CBSE board exams. And I also started a campaign called Readers Are Leaders to spread reading awareness among all kinds of people. So anything that involves addressing large audiences is something I definitely like.
My hobbies are reading books, classical dancing, public speaking, and playing sports. Playing cricket and blindfold activities are my talents. I've been practicing blindfold activities since 2018, and doing pace bowling in cricket is my passion. Thank you.
My favorite hobby is running at 5 a.m. in the morning, followed very closely by playing guitar, something I really love. And definitely I'm learning to cook with my mom every day whenever I get the time. But my absolute favorite, which I cannot get by in a week without doing, is reading fantasy and biography books.
Good evening. Psychology and especially therapy are my passion because they allow me to understand and support people in their journeys towards healing and growth. I find it incredibly fulfilling to help others navigate their challenges and discover their strengths. This field not only drives me to learn continuously but also makes a meaningful difference in people's lives every day. Thank you.
My favorite book is Ikigai, which means a reason for living. It encourages people to find happiness in their own life by exploring their talents and passion. Thank you.
My favorite book definitely has to be one of the first books that I read, that is Grandmother's Tales by Sudhamurthy Ma. And it inculcated a habit of reading in me because this book is not only very relatable but also nostalgic, and every time I read it, it reminds me of my childhood days where I was free as ever. And this is definitely my most favorite book that is extremely close to my heart.
My favorite book, written by Mrs. Sudhamurthy, Wise and Otherwise. Well, it's not just one story. It's a collection of stories with different experiences, ideas, and morals. It really brought a new light in me, and it helped me look at different situations with different perspectives. It helped me look at the world with new eyes. Thank you.
Favorite book is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. It's about Anne Frank, who's a Jew during the Hitler period. And initially she writes this as a diary for herself. But during the war, she wishes to publish this about her thoughts and her struggles as a Jew. But after her death, her dad decides to make her dream come true.
My favorite book is The Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's my favorite book because it offers a collection of inspiring and heartwarming stories that inspire and motivate. Reading it has helped me gain a positive outlook on life, provided comfort during tough times, and encouraged me to appreciate the small moments. It's a reminder that resilience and kindness can truly make a difference in improving my perspective in my daily life.
Very nice.
Harima, Jayet Harima, आप सबको हैप्पी ओणम.
Happy Onam to all of you. Happy Onam.
Happy Onam. Happy Onam.
it's lovely to see them, and it's lovely to see they are giving so much attention and time to do what they love to do. Gee, mommy, as you want to go with the flow, they'll introduce themselves, they'll talk about themselves. If you want to talk to
How
them about
wonderful.
sports, they're
You're
ready.
so
But
right. Each one of them is unique. Everybody, all the five of them before us are unique in their own ways. A poet, a quiz master, a classical dancer, a guitarist, a psychology learner. How uniquely different they are. Even though the age group is almost similar, three of them share the same city, and yet they're so different. And they're almost reading different kinds of books.
mommy,
Yeah.
get her back.
Sorry. Take her
Yes,
back.
yes,
Okay.
yes, you are.
So okay, it was too close. So I said I would. Each one of them are so different. Okay. So let's begin with Ishanya. Ishanya from Gorakhpur. Tell us a little about yourself.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Ishanya Tripathi, and I'm 15 years old from Gorakhpur. I study in Carmel School, and I have joined a session before, the book reading session 25. My hobbies are writing poems. I really love to write poems. I think it's the best way we can express our feelings and thoughts. And in my free time and in school, I also love to do public speaking, taking parts in dance
Tell me,
programs.
Ishanya, how does the poetry come into your head? How does it come? Does it come in your head or heart?
Ma'am, actually, I would say like there are types of poems we write. Some poems is like in my head, some comes from heart. It completely depends on the environment and the thoughts that I'm thinking right now. Yes.
What was the last one you wrote? What was the inspiration?
Ma'am, the last poem I wrote was on the Kolkata case, which has recently happened.
Huh.
And that poem's name is Crestfallen, which means sadness.
Huh. How did it
Yes.
come? It just, did you pick up the news and then wrote it? Did you hear it? Did you see it? What
Yes.
happened?
Ma'am, I was like one day writing some of my assignments and I completely came up with a podcast. I heard it and it like I don't know why how I just started crying after that. It really made me so sad. So the emotional thoughts were just coming out. And the next day I went to school. Every day I was just thinking about the same thing. How can it happen? How can someone do this to someone? I was in school. Actually, during the lecture, I wrote a poem and it just completely came out.
Would you
Yes.
remember some lines?
Yes, ma'am, I have it in front of me.
Go ahead, read it.
Okay. Snowy nights, broken clouds, broken heart, voice so loud. Screaming pain, teared books, teared pages, hands shook. Shattered glasses, broken vase, broken bones, ripped hearts. A ghost maybe. No, even worse. Satisfied male soul, probably.
So you write these small little stanzas.
Yes.
Does the rhyme flow, or does it just you have to make the effort to find the word?
Ma'am, there are many types of poems, can be rhyming words also. There are many free verse poems that I have also written. So sometimes when I'm in mood of writing rhyming words, I do have to find some because there are many words we cannot keep in mind that time. So that's why sometimes I have to find, and it really helps me in my vocabularies actually.
And you've done a one book show earlier. How many years ago was it?
Ma'am, it was like 4 years ago in
Ah,
2020.
and
I
you were
was
how old
11
then?
years old.
Yes. And what
I
was
was
that
just
experience? Recall that.
Ma'am, I was so young. First of all, I didn't knew what was happening in front of me. I just knew I'm going to meet a very beautiful personality. My sister helped me a lot in joining this session, so I'll always appreciate her for that. And I really feel lucky to have an elder sister, actually. So she helped me join the session, and I was just sitting there. I was actually youngest in the batch, so there were many things I was not able to get. But slowly, after I was in continuous in touch with you, ma'am, in all those years, and I wanted to join this new session. I quickly messaged Shivani ma'am. I said, ma'am, I want to join it. I didn't tell my sister. After a few months, I got a response, and yesterday when the poster came out, I sent that to my sister, and she was like really happy to know that I'm joining it again. So quite surprised for her.
So where's your elder sister?
Ma'am, she lives in Hyderabad. She is doing MTech from IIT Hyderabad.
Oh, she's the bigger one.
Yes.
Lovely. So lovely. I'm so glad that you repeating an experience. Now you're looking at it and grasping it in a different way,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
also experiencing it a different way.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you any other class fellows in Gorakhpur done this book reading with us?
No, ma'am. No one, not
You're
yet.
not aware? You can
No.
maybe help others to
Yes, yes,
remember
I
and
will. Sure.
identify your school
I will,
friends.
definitely.
Let's go to Gia. Gia, here is your quiz. You're a quiz master. So
Namaste,
what
ma'am.
are you do? Namaste. Tell us about
Nam-
yourself.
yes. Namaste, ma'am. I am Jia Dugar from Bhavans Rajajya Vidyashram School, Chennai. And like you mentioned, I've participated in a lot of quizzes. Moreover, I like public speaking a lot, like Ishanya, and I do MUNs debates. I recently started a YouTube channel as well to help my juniors do well in their board exams. And I also participated in the book reading session back in 2020. That was the sixth book reading session. And 130 sessions later, I'm here. So it feels very nice to be here as the senior most person, because at that time I was the smallest and I was wondering, okay, one day even I want to come back here. So it's great to be back here, ma'am.
And how did you get into quizzing?
Yes, ma'am. So I actually, in my ninth grade, I started my first quiz in my school itself. It was the Indian Bank quiz, and somehow I won that quiz, perhaps because I read the newspaper a lot, and that just inspired me to go for more and more quizzes, and I developed an interest for it.
And what do you do with the quizzing now at this age? How do you keep growing it? How do you keep developing it? What makes you do that?
Yes, ma'am. So I know that all of this knowledge is definitely going to be helping me in the future, because general awareness is something that everyone needs to have. And now, apart from participating in quizzes, I'm also trying to host some quizzes, create a platform for quizzes so that students can join this and gain knowledge. So that's something I'd really like to do.
So you hold a quiz on our book reading for our book reading children.
Definitely.
Sana, what do you think about it?
जी
How
जी
about Gia conducting a quiz and we can have an award in this? She can plan the quiz for an age group of this. So it's book reading for the quiz. Maybe we could have something like a celebration, small little quiz on the Diwali Eve or something.
I'd be super
What do you think?
excited to do it, ma'am.
Yeah,
Definitely.
let's
जी
all do that. And what you do is you can also give the subject of the quiz so that children can focus on that quiz,
Yes, ma'am. For
and we
sure.
can do little raffle who would like to get in, and we can have a quiz. You can
Definitely,
choose
ma'am.
the subject. What would be your preferred subject if you like to do the quiz?
Definitely about books, ma'am. Since it's the book reading session, we can have a quiz on books. I think that'll be a great idea.
Such as, for example,
For example, fantasy books, because I think most children read fantasy books. So, names of the authors, we can give them clues or hints from the books. They can guess the characters in the book. So, we can definitely work on this, ma'am.
fantasy books or biographies. One of you is reader of biographies, so we could give people an option, but
Yes, ma'am.
has to be dependent on your expertise also.
Okay, ma'am.
So what you can do is you share it with Shakira or Shivani and
Yes,
see which we can, and maybe we'll have a quiz program on the book reading show for the children. It's a
definitely.
game where they can play a game, right? And we can score which we see they can even come as a team. They can come as a team, two each. So we can be six and we can have a team, two each. One can help each other also, right?
Yes,
Let's do that. And then let us see which school wins. So that
yes, ma'am.
means we'll have two and a half school we'll have schools and a team school. We can do that. So we need not have too much of a crowd, but it will be good to have the kind of eye contact we have now. Makes it very enjoyable, and it's a
Yes.
learning process. Yeah. Okay. Great. Now, Kritika, what about you, Kritika? You are a classical dancer as well,
Yes, ma'am.
and very cute looking also. So when you must be getting made up, you must be looking so cute, huh? And it's
Yes.
interesting how South continues to do classical dance. So much of a culture that's so very natural to the whole region. So you tell us, how are you combining classical dance with sports and so many other activities?
Yes, ma'am. Classical dance is something that I've been doing since my childhood. Like I started classical dance when I was in LKG or UKG itself. So
That's
it's just like it's in me. So there's
uh,
nothing I can do. It's just growing inside me. Cricket, it's like something that emerged inside me as a new feeling. Um, it was in the Corona period, ma'am. Corona period, we were all in lockdown. Actually, before I was in a foreign country, KSA, Saudi Arabia. So there it was like complete lockdown. We couldn't go anywhere. So my brother, he's a very naughty child, so he was very active inside our house. So I had to, somehow get engaged. I started playing cricket for him. So that's how I started playing cricket, and it is my passion, and I wish to become a cricketer, or I aspire to become a
so
cricketer.
you couldn't go anywhere. How could you play cricket then?
Uh, we had a small corridor inside our house, ma'am. So just like that, we made it like a pitch, and then we played there.
How nice. The brother is younger or older?
Younger, ma'am.
Acha. So and how do you combine classical sports, classical dancing, sports, and other activities as you mentioned?
Other activities, as in I do blindfold activities, ma'am. That I started like into 2018. It's like a course. I joined the course, so there they taught us about blindfold activities. So like that, I've completed 3 levels, ma'am.
Blindfold activity. What is that?
Yes, ma'am. Blindfold activity is where we close our eyes with a mask. So all our other senses start to work, like smelling, hearing, touching sense. So, along with me, a group of people were there. So, they'll make us do brain gym activities, and then they'll give us a practice by making us close our eyes. And then they'll give us, like, first level, we identify colors. So, they give us color balls, and then we close our eyes, we touch it, and then we find out the colors.
Wow.
Second level, we start coloring, reading, and all the others. Third level, we take a book, we close our eyes, we flip it. By flipping it, we read it.
How do you read it?
It's just practice, ma'am.
Blindfolded, you can read.
Yes, ma'am.
You can sense the words.
Yes, ma'am. Like I close my eyes, I take the book in my hands, I take a page, I flip it. If I flip it, a few minutes I flip it, and then I can tell you what's in that page.
How do you get that?
It is all practice, ma'am. I joined the course. In each level, they taught us how to do it. They gave us exercises, they gave us meditation. So, through all the activities, I gained this. But not everyone can do this. You have to have a full focus in this to do this.
Yes, I've come across in your school. Uh, I remember I was introduced to some children who could read and see. I remember that in your school when I visited you,
Yes,
Omega.
but then I didn't learn this in my school. There is an ashram here in Tamil Nadu. My grandparents are a part of that ashram. So through my cousins, I got so much obsessed with that, and I was like, I want to learn it, and then I went and attended the course. It was like I started in fourth grade.
So, how has it helped you?
Ma'am, to be frank, I'm a very average scoring person when until fourth grade. But then after doing this exercises, something helped me improve my studies. I started focusing more on my studies, and I was like, it really improved a lot in me. I was a very quiet person, but then I started talking. I was very interactive. I I grew. It is just like something that came inside a part of me.
Lovely. Okay, let's go to Rati. Also from the same school?
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Which is
from
this?
Omega International School.
That's right. And you, Kritika, and uh, Kritvika. Kritvika. All the three from your same school. Okay, recall.
Yes.
This is your first event. And so how did it happen? So I remember I made this announcement in Omega School that you could join us. So what happened then?
Actually, I had no idea I was gonna do this. In middle of my French class, actually, I got called to the principal's room. To be honest, I thought I got in trouble. I was a little scared. I was like very like anxious, sitting down. She was looking at a laptop, and then she looked at me, and she was like, "You're doing a book reading session with Kiran Bedi ma'am." And I remember being so relieved because I thought I was in trouble. So that was a very fun experience.
Okay. So yours is you're a regular 5 a.m. marathon. You get up at early morning and start running, is it?
Well, it helps me clear my mind, think about the previous day, what I'm going to do today. It's very relaxing from, all the voice and noise outside.
You do road running?
No, I live in a gated community, so I run around my apartment.
And is there anybody else running at that time?
Uh, Usually people here start running around middle of when I'm there. I'm there for half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on when I wake up or how tired I am. But people usually start running when the sun rises. So I go a little earlier. But sometimes when I'm tired and I'm not able to go, or during the weekends, I go swimming. It's something else I really love.
And then you play the guitar?
Yes, I started not long back. I started in COVID actually, but I stopped because it was online and it wasn't working well. But I started again. I really love music. I'm passionate about that.
Lovely. And you learn to cook?
Oof, okay. I've been learning how to cook with my mom. I admit I'm not the best yet, but everything takes time and practice. So.
Is your mom good at cooking?
Oh, yes. During COVID, she experimented a lot with me, and now she's a fantastic cook.
So what are you learning? What's your preference?
In?
What is your preference in cooking?
Oh, we are a non-vegetarian family, so I like to learn how to make different types of foods, like even sambar and biryani and whatnot.
You're a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian?
Non-vegetarian.
Really? In non-vegetarian? And you're learning
Yeah.
all biryanis, etc. Wow. So why don't
I,
you
I
spend some?
help her in the
Ah,
side.
wow. So why don't you treat some of your Omega friends to biryani one day?
Oh, I treat them more to baking. I can bake well. That much
Bake
I've
well.
learned.
Oh, wonderful.
I bake cake and I share it with my friends whenever I get time.
Superb. Lovely art. It's a great art. It's truly an artistry. Okay, Ritvika, what about you, psychology girl?
Namaste, mom. Yes, so this is Ritvika of grade 10. I'm in LMOIS. I'm in NIS. So my passion is basically psychology. I love psychology, especially when it comes to mental health. I can say it's my expertise there. I love helping people who are struggling with their mental health. Um, and then I also volunteer at BMAD and Tail Alert, which are an organization which helps animals, like stray animals. So I volunteer there on the weekends. Um, and I also do M events. I also do cultural events, and I'm an active immune participant.
Is in such a young age you're helping others navigate. How do you navigate yourself?
Mom, I think mental health is something that is really important for everyone. Even though there's a lot of stigma around it, I think everyone should focus on it as the same level as they focus on the physical health. So I go to therapy, I talk to my counselor, and they help me clear my thoughts. And just like that, I help my classmates clear their thoughts and emotions so that they are able to cope up with their stress that they face. Especially in 10th grade, stress is everywhere.
Tell us an example.
Okay, so recently my classmate didn't get good marks in her psychology exam, so, and because she was going through dance competitions and all that, so I told her it's okay to lose marks sometimes, because marks isn't everything in life. Sometimes we do good in something and sometimes we also fail in something, but we learn from failure, we learn from experience. So I told her that I'll help her, like, we'll have group study sessions, and whenever she gets time, we can study together. So I help them with a small of these stuff.
So these are at the moment small navigations.
Yes, ma'am. I've
As
recently also I attended a internship in Fortis Mental Health for counseling other people, so that has also helped a lot.
and what did you experience in Votus?
So they told me the basics of counseling and how to become a counselor. They've also taught me what are the key elements on becoming a good psychologist, and they also highlighted the points and on what are the different fields of psychology. Psychology is not only about counseling and therapeutic methods. There's a lot. It's a vast field. So they taught me about the upcoming new fields and what are the job opportunities.
So you want to be one day a great counselor?
I wish to be, mom.
You have those as subjects already?
Yes, ma'am. So that's the reason I chose NIOS. So it's called as National Institute of Open Schooling, where they guide us through the subjects that we want to excel in. So when I was in eighth, I hated maths and science. I mean, I knew that I didn't want to join as a medical officer or a IIT professional. So I want to do something that no one would dare to do, and something that has a lot of stigma around it. And that's when I found out psychology. And when I asked in my school in CBSE if they had psychology, they told me it's only as a sixth subject choice in humanities group as a CBSE choice. But I wanted it as a main subject, so that's why I chose NIOS and they helped me through it.
But NIO is combined with your Omega school.
Yes, ma'am.
Acha, they are reinforcing the subject as through mailed material. They mail the material to you.
No, ma'am. We have so our block is along with the CIS block. So we have a separate classrooms. We have a separate corridor. We have separate teachers for us. We have a principal of our own.
So the NIOS has a separate extra learning for you.
Yes, ma'am. No,
Acha,
it's like I was in CBSE before, and then I shifted to NIOS.
acha.
It's all in the same school. Either you can attend homeschooling, or else you can come to school and learn. And I chose coming to school and learn because I miss my friends when I'm in home. So.
Yeah, the NIOS is open worldwide for any student to enroll from anywhere. It's even got skills. National Institute of Open School also has skills. You can pick up a skill also and then get a
Yep.
degree and a diploma. Okay, great. Saina, what would you like to do next after we now know their talent, their hidden talent? Each one is standing out so unique.
We can start the Q&A now.
Let's go to the Q&A.
Yes.
Who wants to come first? Let me begin with Ishania. Ishania, your question?
Ma'am, my question is that what is that one thing you wish people understood more about life?
As I think what is important at the moment you learn the way of understanding life changes. Number one, life is not straight line. It's not one straight line. It's got its valleys and mountains and deserts and rivers and canals and pits and heights. It's not linear. What? And every day when you get up, you have a different kind of thoughts coming in. You only have to choose the track on which you want to be on that day. So why is this like this? The way this is the way life is made up. It's not linear. It's not one structured thinking only, that I'm only going to think this way and it will happen like that. It doesn't happen. Things are in your control and things are not in your control. So one is you are in control and you're also not in control in life. So therefore life is unpredictable and yet predictable, and life is looking permanent and yet very impermanent. So I would think it's still a mystery. How long the life is, we don't know, but we all know, we all believe that there will be a tomorrow. So I think you have to go by the day. It's like here and now. So if you take life as it comes, but life is also not, it's many things. It's a bouquet. It's a bouquet of flowers and roses and bushes. It has a family component. It has a work component. It has your own personal time component. It's your health component. It's your friendships component. It's your relationships component. It's your earning money component. It's so many things also in one. It's mental health. It's physical health. It's you as a body. And life is your eyes, your ears, your health. So many things. Your head, your heart. So it's but also interlinked. Life is a lot of your friends. Life has your family and your parents. So where does it? You take out any aspect of it, that aspect consumes you. Anything happening part of life in family, it consumes you. Anything in life. So what is life? Life is a bundle of years. It's time in hand. So life is every day 24 hours of the day. Every day a life is 24 hours. And in 24 hours, all these things are fitting in. Your family fits in, your friends fit in, your school fits in, your work fits in, your finances fit in, your attitude fits in, your health fits in, your food fits in, your hygiene fits in, so many things. So many things. So life is mobility, and life is also sleeping. So in life, what is life? 8 hours are dedicated to your bed. You have to sleep to keep awake the rest of the hours. But in the rest of the hours, there's so much happening. And everything is not the same as you predicted. Everything's not the same. So therefore, you're always every day grappling with the consequences of what got left behind, what got ignored. So your energy is consumed what you did not attend to, what was important or what was urgent. And you go sometimes to unimportant and unurgent. So life, I just don't know. It's still a mystery. But life is a bouquet of all these things combined. Sometimes you just get up and you get a WhatsApp. Remember COVID? Remember COVID? We opened up a phone and we realized, oh, somebody's ill. Somebody's gone to hospital. Your whole day plan is gone. And now you're running and seeing what can you do with that person. Unpredictable. Here, the other thing, oh, lovely. Somebody blessed with a baby boy and a baby girl, and you're celebrating a birthday. See how it switches from funeral to a birthday celebration. But all part of that, 16 hours of the day. Life one day at a time. So I think life is knowing and yet not knowing. So therefore, be prepared to be resilient. Be prepared to prepare. God knows what is coming tomorrow. So all you have to do is get up in the morning and thank yourself for another day, but thank for the yesterday which made today possible. When I read some of your questions, and I went to Chat GPT and see what Chat GPT says about this. What I've told you is not what Chat GPT said at all. I didn't like what Chat GPT said, because I think there's a very emotional and human angle to the question and answer at the spur of the moment. And the Chat GPT is not spur of the moment. Chat GPT is already, which is an algorithm which has already been fed and fixed. It doesn't evolve and change according to the emotion of the moment. So therefore, be prepared to see what cards you hold during the 16 hours of waking hours. 8 hours are, you would not know where you are. You're sleeping. And you are only energizing for the next 16 hours. This is how I feel life is. So you are all heading for every day a variety of 16 hours. But it's all about prioritizing in those 16 hours. Sometimes the priorities are in your hand, and sometimes they're not in your hand. Right? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mommy, let them have a heartening session with you with the Q&A.
Yes,
And
baby.
then in the end, if we have time, then they kind of, let's see how the flow goes, because they're prepared, their sports person also. But
That's
we'll see
exactly what I'm doing. I'm answering their question.
Yes. So we'll see how it flows. We'll see in the end how much time we have. Mummy. Sujata, will you check ma'am's connectivity, beta? Children will have ma'am back. Let me get ma'am to connect back. Give me a moment, huh? I'm trying to get her connectivity. We just wait for 2 minutes. We'll get ma'am. We'll start talking by the time ma'am.
Here we go. I saw you lost connection.
Yes, I think we'll just go do the question answers first because
Yeah,
your
so-
connectivity, that's why I want
So
to
the
just
first question is done. I've had a session with Ishanya. Let's go to Jia. Jia, what's your question?
Yes,
Ishanya,
ma'am.
was it okay? Does it make sense?
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
not. I've just given you as big an answer as possible. So when you start looking at life, you see, when you look at a tree, the shape of every leaf is different. It's so mysterious. Every leaf is different. Many times I look at one leaf over the other. Somehow the other, there's a subtle difference. That's what the tree is made up of. They all look alike, but they're actually different. Even every tree is different. That's life. Okay. Jia?
Yes, ma'am. So the book reading session is a great opportunity, and I wanted to ask you why and how you came up with the idea of the BRS.
Because that's what you are closest to. Children are closest to books. Books and playing. But this is what we could do. We couldn't do playing on internet. And it started during COVID times. When how do you connect? How do you continue to stimulate, inspire, motivate, communicate, converse, and see, and yet see each other? So that's how we thought was the best, fastest, and the most intensive way. And since you're always every day with books, and number two, to take you beyond school books, because I've noticed that at this age, those of the children who start reading early books and all a variety of books start finding their own niche of a career. They'll start liking what their preferences are, but they also grow more all-rounded because you're getting ideas from here and there. You're also picking up vocabulary. You're also getting to express. You're also getting to read and write. You also have stories. You also have imagination. You start visualization. That's because you're reading. So your book reading, your examination reading is one aspect, which the other aspect is you beyond the books, which add to your book reading, your examination, which add to your studies, your add to your syllabus. So that's when it expands. And those children who do more general reading, they write better essays, they communicate better, they are better leadership because they've got more ideas, they gain confidence, there's a knowledge involved in it. So I think that way we thought we will go to book reading and encourage book reading, because in the screen times of these days, book reading is on the decline. So we thought we'll take you back, and each one of you chooses fiction. You choose storybooks on your own. Somebody chooses poetry. Somebody uses literature. So it all depends. So we found this was the best way to be connecting with each other and being friends, and also educate each other. You see, you're listening to each other's book. So this way you also spread, and you are, while you and I, we are 5 and 6 speaking, but you're being heard. It's open running. Your show is live streaming on my X handle, on Instagram, on Facebook, on going LinkedIn, etc. So you see, it's so while you and I are with just 6 of us, or 7 of us, but actually goes to much more who are watching the, or after that it stays on the demonstrative learning channel, and it stays on so people can revisit it and open up the channel. So there's a shelf life of our programs. So this way book reading also comes alive, your reference of books. So you inspire each other. Just here,
Yes,
Kritika,
ma'am. Thank you so much.
your question. Kritika, your question. Yes, but
Yes,
your, yeah.
yes, ma'am. As India's women police officer, what are the key lessons you've learned, and what is the best advice you can give to youngsters who aspire for their dreams?
As you grow and as you open up to the world, and as you read your school books, as you go to your school, you meet friends, as you meet teachers, as you go on the playground, as you listen to your parents at home, as you grow up with your family around, as you grow up in the neighborhood, you start knowing what you're liking and what you don't like. And the more sensitive you are, and now your sensitivity even with blindfolded, see, it's a more sensing around. What are you comfortable with? Am I comfortable with books? Am I comfortable with people? Am I comfortable with machinery? Am I comfortable with music? Am I comfortable with art and dance? Am I comfortable with travel? Am I comfortable with authority? Am I comfortable with leadership? I do not know. But as you grow, you start seeing your preference. Am I good at cooking? Am I going at creativity in art and culture? So am I good at coding? You do not know. So I think that's what in the more exposed you are, the more you start knowing what is it, what's your life's calling, what are you comfortable with, and how far you want to go, how much hardworking you are, and that calling, what does it demand. So it's the more exposed you are, like children, girls who, and boys and girls, parents, children who travel with their parents, their world opens up much more. They get into architecture, they get into a world tourism, etc. So it depends. I would say the earlier you get the calling, then you start focusing on towards that direction. That's what happens in my life. As I grew, I saw I was more people oriented. I was more comfortable with serving people. I was more comfortable with helping people. I was more comfortable being of value to others. I was more comfortable in being in a position to give. I started to realize that, and also had the leadership to take the lead and work hard. And I had the organizational capability, and I had the discipline within, and I was willing to get out of the comfort zone. So that's what happens. So I would suggest to the youngsters listening is that as you grow, start being understanding yourself. What are you happy with? What are you liking? What would you like to focus a little more on? And that becomes your area of attention as you grow. There can be more than one.
Ji.
Thank you.
Raji, your turn.
Ma'am, what would be your advice to people breaking barriers mentally and paving the way for others? For example, you yourself, ma'am, are the first woman IPS police officer. I'm sure the road to that wasn't easy with all the negativity and comments. So, how did you get over that? What was your motivation?
Again, when you grow up, you have to see for yourself what are you getting attracted towards, sadness or joy, laughter, fun, or grief. Are you complainer or are you problem solver? What are you attracted towards? Are you attracted towards spirituality, satsang, devotion? And also, out of all the deities, which deity is attracting you? Which faith is attracting you? So I think as you grow, this is what happens. What was your question?
To people, breaking barriers and breaking stereotypes.
This is it. So when you grow up, you are choosing, you're breaking barriers. But as you grow, you become a model for the others. So you start breaking a barrier by lifting others. Those people, as I said, I start to lift. So mental barriers is a lot of mental health. And all that I've told you, I think psychology girl will answer better. Where's my psychology girl? Riti, will you answer this question? Help me.
Sure, ma'am. So, breaking barriers is difficult, but when you have a positive mindset and when you only focus on the positive thoughts and the positive sides that you can gain when you achieve it, is really important. When you focus on the negative side, only the negative thoughts will be running on your mind, and you think that you'll fail, and someone will, comment on you. But when you do not care what other people say, and when you think that you can succeed, and when you think that you can help others by succeeding, it is what is important.
Rati, how do you remove darkness? How would you remove? You're entering a room and it's dark. What would you want? Light in the room. What would you do?
On the light switch.
So what would you do? You will go towards a
light switch.
And you will switch on the light. Why? Because your mind has told you that you want light. And that you want, then the mind then says switch on. You are breaking a barrier of darkness. Through what? Through a mindset. Your mindset. You're going to switch on because your mind told you you don't like darkness. So you've broken the barrier of darkness by switching on the light. Am I right? Rati, am I right? So what happens? That means you are aware that in your mind you don't want the darkness. So there is a thought within your mind which is asking you to remove darkness. And the fact that you recognize that there's darkness and that you don't want it. Supposing you want the darkness, would you go to the switch? No. You are maintaining a barrier or a darkness when you want to sleep. But that's also a choice you're making. You are breaking that barrier of dissipation of your energy because you want to sleep. So that's a breaking a barrier of not having, which disturbs your sleep. So it's like a choice. So if I go back to my first example, that you've broken your mental barrier by removing the darkness. But how will you remove the darkness? Being aware. Similarly, in life, we make our barriers by switching on, being aware of what is it that my mind is thinking. What is it that it wants? What is it conflicting with? How do I make a better choice? Who do I go for help? Supposing, then your mind will also tell you, go for help, go to that teacher. That teacher will tell you how to solve the problem. Supposing you have a arithmetic theorem or an algebra, and you're not able to break through. You are taking help books, you're not getting through. What would you do? You will go to either, you will go for a help. And your mind will tell you who to go to. So what are you doing? You're using your mind to break the barrier of ignorance or not knowing what to do. So you are using the mind as a tool to seek your solution, but you're breaking a barrier. Suppose you're happy with the way it is, so you're living with the barrier. So you have a choice. You can live with the barrier. You're living with the barrier and you're breaking a barrier. The choice is always yours. What do you want? Again, it's a choice. So you have to ask. That means you and your mind, you are not the mind. You are different from your mind. Mind is a tool for you. Just as your stomach is a tool, your eyes are a tool, your hair are a tool, your hands are a tool, your legs are a tool to walk, hands are a tool to grasp, right? Your nose is a tool to breathe, your eyes are the tools to see, your ears are tools to hear. You can shut them out. You can shut your eyes and decide not to see. You can block your ears, decide not to hear. Okay? You can tie your hands not to use. How do you break the barrier? Where you break, I want to use my hands. I want to learn the tools. how do you break the barrier of the head is the same way, though it's not visible, it is very protected. But you again have to do it thought by thought. It's abstract. See, my hands are visible, but my thoughts are abstract. So I have to replace one thought with the other. Saina wants to say something.
Instead of a takeaway, if it's okay with you, I'll come in now and just
Do
put
that.
these, yeah, before. Just put a few thoughts together and take Rathi's question after my sharing. And then I hope we have some time because the children had prepared their sports person.
So, Ritvika,
Yes.
so are
Yes,
we on
ma'am.
that last? Yeah, let's have her question. Then you
Yes.
can
My
step in
question for
later.
Yes.
My question for you is: do you have a book or an author that has had the biggest inspiration on you, on your writing, and what way did it influence the way you tell your stories?
I was a student of English honors when I was in graduation classes. And English honors made me read literature, right? I read a lot of poetry, I read a lot of plays of all of my time, thinkers. But I also read fiction on my own. And at the young girl of about 15 years old, I read the book Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. And there's a character in Ayn Rand's book called Howard Roark. And as a 15-year-old girl, it attracted me hugely. Why? Because like minds attract each other. Howard Roark, in Ayn Rand's book, is an architect. And what he does is he creates all kinds of new kinds of architectures. You know, there's a traditional house architecture, and there's also these days, if you see when you travel around the world, different kinds of museums are coming up, different kinds of libraries are coming up, different kind of architectures are coming up, even housing. Haven't you seen it? If you go back by Dubai, different kinds of architectures, and Abu Dhabi, different kinds of architectures are coming. Howard Roark is an architect in this book, and he's ahead of his time as an architect, and he creates a new kind of architecture of a particular building, and the society starts criticizing it, saying this is not the traditional way of doing it, this is no way, this is not going to be useful. But you know what he does? He's a hired architect. His profession is architecture, and if his drawing is not accepted, he gets no money. But he sticks to his plan. He says, you take it or you leave it. And how he faces the society, how he defends his architecture is the whole challenge of individualism versus creativity, and the social pressure, and the social approvals, and the social acceptance. It fitted with me because I was also growing up differently. I had my own mind architecture as a girl. I had no plan of architecture as a bride in my head. I had no concept of saying one day I'll be migrating out and leaving my parents behind. I was growing up like any other boy does, growing up one day to take care of the parents and the home and run the home and be the provider. I was growing up as a provider, whereas all my friends were growing up to be migrants, one day to move away. So I was like Howard Roark, Ayn Rand's book. So Ayn Rand's book impacted me from that character of Howard Roark. It still remains my favorite character as a beginner. But as I grew up from literature, from all these books reading, to spiritual books. And two books which changed my life a big way is the Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda, Swamiji Yogananda, and then Living with the Himalayan Masters by Swami Rama. These two books came later on in my life and took me towards another direction, from fiction to spiritual real life, where these two books are direct books by these saints of our time, Swami Yogananda ji and Swami Rama. Wonderful. Once you girls read it, it will be different because they are real what happened in their lives, and they were Himalayan masters. Swami Rama was a Himalayan master, and Swami Yogananda is the one who brought in the Kriya Yoga to the world. And they are real life stories, and they're all about real life experiences with divinity, how evolved they became over the years. So it took me towards that direction, but also makes me feel that how far am I from that destination? But the destination is always calling. It always calls you. So this is it. So Saina, you want to step in?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, mom.
Uh, y- you know, you're young girls, and I'm not just seeing you now. I'm not just seeing you at this moment. I'm kind of seeing you 10 years from now. You're beautiful young girls with so much of talent. So connect with my thoughts if you can. And I'm going to start my takeaway with a prayer today that I pray to Ma that you get to choose your life and not settle for it. I really pray to Ma that destiny allows you to choose your life and not just settle for it. Try always creating a skill set within yourself that you know that you're capable of financial independence. I pray for most beautiful abundance for all of you and comfort for all of you, emotional comfort for all of you, financial comfort for all of you. But you all must have a skill set within yourself where you know that you can be financially independent. So that's most important. That's building the foundation. A quick word for Rathi. Beta, there are no glass ceilings and barriers to be broken. You just start stepping out of your own comfort zone, which you've created for yourself, and start being true to your karmic blueprint. You start being the best you, the best version of yourself. Now, there are no barriers to be broken for that. You just have to step out of your comfort zone, and that takes hard work and discipline. So instead of looking at the bigger picture, let's look at the day to day picture, the day to day life skills. Now, coming to the question of life, I have a story to tell you. And I'm grateful to Mommy for giving me this time because it's important talking to 5 of you today. You're bright young girls. In fact, the story I read a couple of years back when I was a teenager, a young teenager. There is a ship, and there are many people on the ship. And the captain of the ship is talking about all the sciences that he knows. He knows geology, biology, physiology, zoology, and all the ology.
Psychology.
He knows all. Take it in the spirit I'm sharing it with. He knows all the sciences. Now, the ship gets very rocky and a storm comes. And everybody's running here and there. And they're trying to save their life and jump. But the captain is not being able to do that. He's standing still in one place, not knowing what to do. So somebody comes to him and says, "Jump. It's stormy. You need to jump." And then he looks at him and he says, "You don't know how to swim. You don't know swimology." Now that's life. I am noticing that the youth of today needs to know how to handle the tough emotions of life. While I will reiterate one thing for all of you today, never ever let go of your passion. All that you know how to do and love how to do, never ever let go of this. You'll keep that spark within you. But you must have real swimology skills built in. So you must think about that. Life is dualities. If you can learn how to deal with the tough emotions and not try evading them, but moving ahead with them, there is no magic wand that takes away the tough emotion.
So the answer is very simple in this. Let me give you a toolkit of this to carry forward what Saina said. When you come across a tough situation, you have two questions to ask, which normally people stop at the first one. Say, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I not able to understand? And the successful people, they move from the why to the what. They understand why, but they move, and why is stops you, it continues to keep you complaining. Why me? Why this? Who did it? Should not have done it. But the good ones say, okay, now what can I do about it? So then the what comes in. And in the what, you start having the toolkit which Saina mentioned. In the what, you would say, now this has happened. This is what I can do now. So they move on to the what I can do, not why it happened. So in your life, you got a few marks in your subject, or your friend, you lost a friend, or something went wrong with something in the family or something. Look at not the why, go beyond the why to the what. What can I do now, for now? And use your skills to deal with the what, from going to the why. So remember that, which I thought I could carry forward to give you exactly. This is my latest reading when I was reading about certain other books, and I realized good leadership moves from the why to the what. And that's where they make the difference. Whereas complaining people remain at the why, and me, why me, and then they move on to say, not why, get on to the what. Now let's work together and let's resolve the issue. So some things which can be done together and sometimes can be done by yourself. Thank you, Saina. We can
Ji,
close the day.
ji,
We can carry forward next time. But thank you, children, for joining us again and being a part of it. I hope, let's see if you takeaways when we got 2 minutes. Okay, Gia, your takeaway?
Ma'am, my takeaway definitely has to be not to give up. If anything wrong happens, don't question why me. Just find an alternative solution to it, which was also what my inspiration Avni Lekhana did, who was a part of Paralympics. So that's my takeaway from today.
Good. Yeah, we moved on from Paralympics, and I know your subject, but I deliberately took you to unprepared area rather than the prepared area. Okay, Ishanya, what's your takeaway?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my takeaway would be that we need to focus on the happiest things in our life. It's okay if we don't have something. We should appreciate what we have, be happy, and not to focus on the negative thoughts which are around us, because this generation, there is a lot of negative aspects, but it's okay. There are people will come, people will go. It's okay. Let them be like that. You should be the reason for your own happiness, and you should live your life completely and positively. There are many things to be happy about. Thank you.
Well done. Kritika,
Yes, ma'am. My takeaway is that life is unpredictable. So just focus on the things in the present, and we'll just see to that what happens next. So we have to focus on the present and see what we have to do now, rather than thinking of what we have to do then.
while being prepared
Yes,
as a toolkit, that's what she mentioned, having a toolkit to be prepared.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ritvika?
Ma'am, so my takeaway from this session is that to achieve our dream, we have to face the challenges that comes with it. So only if we break, it's not about breaking the barrier. It's about getting out of our comfort zone and doing what no one would do. And even though we face the negativities, we should always focus on the positive way, and we should find a positive way towards it.
Okay, Rathi, you?
My takeaway is definitely that mindset is everything. If you can have a good mindset, have a positive mindset and outlook on life, I think we can all achieve anything. With hard work and mindset, any dream is possible.
So mindset, you need to scan your mind thoughts then. You need to have a scanner. So how do you scan your mind? By traveling through your mind. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking? What can I do about this thinking? Because you seem to be little introspective and worried. I see some anxiety on your face. There is a question within you which is struggling to seek answers, and I'm not sure whether you got the answers, but I'm still trying to give you the answer. Is there's something's disturbing you? I think what really needs to do is just do your own. It's called reset. It's got reset. It's also got rescan and clean up your mind on your own. Start afresh sometimes in the morning. Say, okay, let me move on. But or take help. Take
Thank
help. If
you.
you're not getting the answers, is to see who you do trust and go and seek answers. Sometimes clearing your own thought and listening to others also helps. Rati, you got me, Rati? Did you get me? Switch on your mic. Switch on your mic, Rati. Yeah. Tell me. She's. Can you hear me, Rati? Could you hear me, Rati? Listen. Switch on the mic. So wish you all best, children, and have a happy Onam. Enjoy your sweets. What are you going to have? Lots of sweets and fruits and ice creams, or cooking for parents and giving gifts. Good. All the best. Bye bye. Thank you, Sana, for joining.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Take care.
Thank you.
ma'am,
God bless you. God bless you.
excuse
Jai
me,
Bhim.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I've written a poem for you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Ma'am, the poem's name is Name of Honor, and it goes like Endearing Eyes, Enchanting Smile, a name of honor, spirit bold, Kiran Bedi, a gold. In a world full of men, she stood up, a woman, for justice and good. Kiran Bedi, a beautiful lady, I understood. Thank you.
How lovely. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. Thank you. Lots of
Bless
Thank you,
love.
ma'am.
All of you,
you.
you're good.
Thank
Bless
you, ma'am.
Okay, Rati.
Thank
Happy?
you, ma'am.
you.
Let me see a good smile on your face, Rati. Good. God bless you. Enjoy. Go
Thank you
listen
for
to
your
some good
time.
music. Go ahead, listen to some good music and enjoy and play. Okay? Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Jai Dharima.